Okay. Welcome to On the Nose, and we have here Attempted Clown. Thank you for
Ah,
joining again. And
yay!
um, your makeup is awesome. And I actually thought it was like a ice cream cone at first.
Yeah, there was very, very last minute this idea. I don't have a short hair wig for this guy, and um, I thought it'd be like a nice counterpart to the like little tiefling character I did that was all red and black. And I thought, you know what? I am a damaged world weary, miserable woman. But I am a light-hearted, carefree dude. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna put my little rainbow one. I've only got one. Hey, you know what? This guy's been through some stuff too and does not care. Let
Awesome. I like the shading detail. It's really cool.
me see if maybe I should turn it down. No, that's okay. I'm done.
So how long did it take you?
Uh, I don't remember. I was rushing it. Like I think I just like end up in some like zone because this is like the fourth or the fifth face I've done like this. And but um be honest, I've had some requests to have some like hairs put in and all that. And when I've done like a beard, when I've done some chest hair, I think that was 7 hours.
Wow.
Because I'll put each one separately. So I'll do this entire face, and then one at a time, put single hairs all the way across.
Yeah.
But I got this far, and I just took a look, and I was like, "Oh, I should just stop messing with that." I don't know. I don't know if messing with you ever get like that? You're making something, and you just start to be like, all right, this is where I walk away because I'm going to start adding things that don't go there."
Yeah. Definitely. It's been a while since I've done my face paint, but there were a few times, especially in the beginning, that I did more complex stuff, and I was like, "Okay, I need to stop because otherwise I'm gonna do complex everywhere, and it's gonna be just too much."
Yeah, and well, and I'll like be working on like a sculpture, or at least back in the day, or a painting, or like um, but you know what? You know what? Even writing a poem, right? You get towards the end of it, and you go back and you start editing and taking words out, and add a flourish here. Realize you repeated yourself there, and then you got to do something. I got to back up because I'm going to make this into some weird soap opera stuff if I add one more thing.
So how have you been?
Huh. I have very bad memory, so that question like throws me off 100% of the time. You ask me about a bunch of stuff. Ask me stuff about like things that I know about how I've been. I've just been alive while following various pursuits. I only know how the pursuits went. But let me think about it. Oh, that's right. The entire time since last time we were on here, I've basically been asleep. Like ah, the cancer treatments are getting me, and I just found out that this specific ones I'm getting has a cumulative effect over time.
Oh,
That's why
no.
they I get like every 3 weeks I get one, every 3 weeks I get a different one, and then back and forth. So I get these two different things every 6 weeks, basically, but there's overlapping. And I like, I don't know. You ever feel that you just feel like you're part of a community, and they're a fun community, and they've saved your life to some degree, and then you feel like trash, and you just start zoning out for like days on end. And I feel grateful to everybody, and at the same time I need to basically not be some days.
Yeah. I relate with that, like, it kind of like because I don't feel well, and then I feel like I don't have anything positive to offer because I'm too tired or, whatever's going on, especially with all the stuff that's been going on in my life recently. So then I start
Yeah.
kind of feeling like, not that burden's maybe not the right word, but maybe it is the right word. I don't know. But it's like, I just don't feel like I have anything to offer. Never mind the fact like the real stuff is legitimate stuff to offer with the right people, but
Mhm.
it gets
But
easier to
sometimes
kind of separate myself and, just sleep. That's what I've been doing a lot lately.
well, and you ever feel like this? Like sometimes it's important to not have such like a polished exterior. And so
Yeah.
you'll share something sad, you'll share something miserable. And then there are those times where you're just like, I don't have something sad to share. I'm just beyond done. And then that's why I start like telling myself stuff that it's something I just end up saying a lot is like, when it's that bad, just like, I just have to make sure tomorrow happens. That's absolutely all I can do is make sure tomorrow still happens. Anything beyond that is actually too much.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've thought about it like spelled it out that way, but I definitely I think that I can see that in especially the way that I've been feeling the last couple of weeks where it's literally just kind of like one foot in front of the other and don't think too much about it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's and then you just wake up some days with like some energy and you're like, let me do a month's worth of catching up with like everybody real quick.
Yep.
And then you're like so burned out at the end of those days. They feel really good. They're worth it. I absolutely just decide to destroy myself on those days, right? And at the end of those days, you're like, I need another week of sleep
Oh
because
yeah.
I had a good day.
Yep. My when my chronic fatigue was like really really bad, if I had a good day, that's exactly what I would do. And thankfully I used to have I would have like one good day and then I would just crash horrifically for weeks at a time. And it started to balance out where I still will crash, but it's just not as severe and I'm really grateful for that. But I spent a couple of years where if I wanted to go for like a 1 mile walk with my friend, I paid for it, for like 2 weeks. But it was so worth it to me to get out and feel like a person, you know?
Yeah, I think both of us were like busy moms like way back, and there's always like 10,000 things to do, so you feel ashamed if you take a rest because the other 80,000 things that you just got done barely count if the other 1,000 things don't get finished.
Right.
And then you like just start to come to a point where like we both get like chronic illness just starts creeping in deeper and deeper and deeper, and then it's just like, yeah, the opposite. You're just like actually bored to death with resting.
Yeah. You get mad at it. You're just like, I have to do that again. Like, ugh.
The comments from people that aren't sick, right? Like they just be like, "Oh, I wish I could just
Oh my God.
lay around and do nothing all day." And I'm like, "You don't wish you had like 10 illnesses that hit you at once.
Right.
You don't wish that. I'm not excited to be dying. This is like, you don't want rest under these circumstances. You probably do wish you could take a month off, but not because 10 illnesses are hitting you at the same time. You just need a vacation. That's a completely separate thing."
Right. Yeah. Oh my God. Those kind of comments just I'm just like, ooh, tone deaf. Just ooh.
Or they'll hear like all the crazy stuff going on in your life because I tell people like, like it's you don't get closer to live action Three Stooges than if you're just friends of my family. Because like, and I would just say that because it's like a slapstick level of terrible things going on. Because somebody will be like, "Well, but that's fine, isn't it?" No. Okay, well that part of it's fine, isn't it? No. And this happened since you asked me yesterday. Like it's and that I love that it throws people. I love that it's funny. Or sometimes people feel bad. I don't know why pity gets such a bad rap. I'm in a bad way, and if you want to extend me a bunch of empathy, I'll take all of it. But
Right.
occasionally there'll be somebody who's just tired of feeling useless, feeling mundane. And they'll just be like, I wish my life was interesting like yours. All I do is go to work and come home. And I'm just like,
I wish I could be boring.
right? No, yeah, I should respond with that from now on because I do say that on separate occasions when it's just somebody's like, stuff is boring. I'm like, I would kill to be bored for 3 days in a row. Like,
Right.
I can't tell you how many years it's been where nothing has happened for that many hours at once. Like, it's all right. Like, every time you start to, okay, I am accepting of this latest crop of bad news. Boom. And his whole life is just like, like, it can't get any worse. And life's like, hold my beer.
For real. I literally have been like, "Okay, this is it. This is the thing, and I'm gonna start progressing to the next step," and then something else, and I'm just like, "Okay, I need to stop thinking that this is the" I'm, like, jinxing myself by thinking that I've reached the pinnacle of terror in this situation, you know? Like
Mhm. And but yeah, at the same time, I'm not like patting myself on the back like people will think, right? I'm not like, good job being interesting, good job having that crazy story. Like, no, you do not want this story. Like, it would be really awesome
Yeah.
to feel bored and be entertained by other suffering weirdos because this is not the good side of things.
I just get a lot of like, "Wow, you've been through so much, you're so strong," and I was like,
Oh,
"What am Well, how does that benefit me at all? Like, I don't feel like I'm strong. I feel like I'm just kind of glued together, you know? And,
well, and then I just feel like that puts that raises the bar. Don't raise the bar. I'm going through enough. You start
right,
telling me I'm strong, that's gonna like raise your expectations of what I'm capable of. And what I'm capable of is not actually much. And I'm gonna start crying randomly, and you need to know that that's always just below the surface. All right, you start calling me strong, you're gonna start expecting that that's gonna stop. It's not going anywhere because I
right.
just deal with things as they happen. There's this one guy. Okay, so like I'm at the hospital. There's this big hospital that's got a children's section and a grown-up section. They're both completely amazing. I got diagnosed there when my kid had cancer, and these magicians come in. They have all these entertainers come in for free and into the dining room and help the parents and all that. And one guy just he's doing tricks at different tables. He came to my table and just like, I love that they do this here. I love the families here. I love to help people, but sometimes it's good to just talk to a visitor or a volunteer. I'm not sure which you are because I had a clown face. And I'm like, oh, I'm a patient. And he's like, well, you're an adult, and this is the like, yeah, oh yeah, no, my kid's a patient too. And he's like, oh, but I mean, you're definitely gonna be fine. I'm like, I am terminal. My kid could die at any minute. In fact, I'm down here killing time because my kid could have already died earlier and they probably wouldn't tell me for the next 45 minutes because different stuff. We had to sign a bunch of paperwork. Bone marrow transplant is just like it is very dangerous. The smallest thing can make you ill to where you can't recover. You have zero immune system. All of your white cells are made by your bone marrow. So to eliminate them and then plant new cells and wait for them to grow back, it's incredibly dangerous. That's why, like, it cures leukemia, it cures AIDS, as a matter of fact, but they never do it because it's very easy to die from the procedure. But so I'm just in there, and I'm just telling him, yeah, no. Um, I'm not going to make it, and my kid might not make it either. We're just both here seeing what we can do. And he just like sunk down into a chair. It's like he knew the chair was there. He just like, and he was just like that was the saddest thing he ever heard. And he's just like, how are you goofing around? And I'm just like, like, I think I said this last time. You got to do something, Del Bingo. That doesn't make stuff less funny. That doesn't make food taste less good. I'm gonna eat and then goof around, knowing that any minute could be my last. What are you gonna do? And he said, "You're so strong." Sorry, it's taking so long.
Mhm.
He says, "You're so strong." I'm like, "I'm not strong." And this is what I tell people when they call me strong. I always like refer this to an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants because I'm just like, he's very annoying. Well, I relate to that. You can tell. And he annoys the wrong guy, and the guy's violent. You get that? You know that happens to me. You just met me. You know that happens to me. And this guy's like, "I'll kick your butt." So he goes and he hides at home. He stays in there, but he stays too long. You can't hide forever. So he tries to hide at work. He's like trying to work the grill and hide behind it and work the grill and hide behind it. And he eventually realizes this can't work. I can't hide. And he goes outside and he just says, "You're just going to have to kick my butt." And the guy's like, "I'm doing it." And he's just like, "Well, just really let me have it." And he's like, "I am." And it turns out he's too soft to break. And I tell people, I think that's why you think I'm strong. Because when this is too hard, I actually go, this is too hard. And, when things are too sad, I just droop and I nap and I weep and I say, this is too hard. And if there's a little glimmer of energy, as a little glimmer of hope, if I feel good for no reason, well, I go after it with the same amount of gusto that if I'm angry or sad. And if you just go from like, is some people picture that Zen quality of living in the moment being very quiet, dull, peaceful. No, 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 no. Like it's very being in the moment is very loud most of the time. And I'm sorry I yelled. I just really got into that moment. But but
I think
I think if you go after everything as it happens, it just makes room for peace.
yeah, that makes sense. I used to be very like shut down and disconnected from my emotions and like the every time I went through like a hardship or whatever, it would just go inside and kind of like shred my insides. And I think that that's like what ultimately fed into like the stress of my health issues like once I was because I was in such a toxic work environment and I was just shredding my insides and then a couple years ago like 5 years ago I just started feeling I kinda thought I was going crazy. I was, like, in a hurricane of, like, feelings, and I was crying all the time, and my therapist's like, "No, you finally slowed down enough that you can feel your emotions, and you just gotta get through it." And so I've made an active effort since then that, like, when things happen, that I just feel my feelings. So, like, I spent 2 days this week feeling really sad, and I slept a lot, and, I still feel it now, but it's, like not in the same severity, so it feels like I'm getting back to where I can start to find my little joys again. Because that's something I'm very good at is finding my little joys, like, in just anything. I mean, it could be a burp or a fart. It's just,
Yeah.
there's joy to be found, like, most of the time, and, it's something I'm very grateful about myself, because it's just I don't know. I don't know how people live without that. The people who like when you're like super happy about something super silly and they're just like looking at you like you're a little bit crazy. And I'm like, how do you live your life without this?
Well, yeah, no, no, I truly, I can't fathom devoting my life to being disappointed to where I couldn't feel joy. I always tell people I think I have a some kind of permanent silver lining disorder where like everything the good shines all the way through no matter what. And I don't know, I know maybe it's just like maybe it's I think if it's like the ADHD, right? Because I heard like impulse control is an issue.
Hmm.
Well, maybe that's like in a good way. Like when I feel good, all my lack of impulse control helps me to feel good in all circumstances, and they don't just kind of pile up and all the feelings weigh on each other. And yeah, I tell people like my my complete social ineptitude has continuously caused me to react inappropriately to everything that's ever happened. And so when things got crushingly sad, I'm not reacting to that correctly either. And boom, it's paying off.
Do you I have this like if I don't go to the movies really anymore, but when I used to, I would laugh at things that nobody else in the theater laughed at. or like react to things. And it was always when it was quiet. I never laughed with everyone else. And it's just like, it's so, I like, it's so funny to me, but like, why wasn't it funny to anyone else? Like, except my son, we laugh at the same stuff.
Well, I think we're like words people to some extent, and it could be that just something strikes you as funny because, or that it's absurd accidentally. But also, I think some of the times some wordplay will go over the heads of like 100 people at once. I'm like, and everyone will look at me. There's nothing funny about that. I'm like, oh, okay. It was a words thing, and you guys just took that sentence as filler and just moved on with your day. There's a mix of
Definitely.
those things.
Yeah. There's definitely been times where it was, like, definitely wordplay and the writers knew exactly what they were doing, and I was just like
I will find myself watching like a Charles Dickens PBS miniseries thing, and I'll be laughing like half of it. I feel like this is serious, and I'm like, uh but I know it's like old timey. That's not the same thing as serious. Mellow out. It's only like something very scandalous, and everyone will go, "Oh!" But when they're like fully insulting the judge there, and I'm just like, "You bag!" And everybody else will be like, "Oh!" And I'm like, "I don't get that response. I don't think that's the intended response, guys. That was hilarious."
There's, like, also, like, a lot of violence is funny to me because it's so ridiculous, but, like, even I loved The Three Stooges when I was a kid, which, of course, that was intended, right? But, like, I see that in stuff that is intended to be taken more seriously. I still see that humor in it.
I think it's more so that, right? Like, I was never gonna admit this in any kind of public thing, but who cares? Okay, so like, my favorite thing to do with my one of my sisters growing up was to watch some hyper melodramatic mini series about like some kind of infamous murders, and we've been there laughing our heads off. And it's not that I don't have human empathy or I care about the loss of life or just the inhumanity of the people involved, but the presentation very often just knocked me off my feet. And they're like, they could tell that at 3 years old, the drawings he made were leading somewhere dark. And I'm like, no, it's not a thing, buddy. I saw this thing about like the Unabomber, and it was like, and she's just like, he had a fever when he was 2, and it was downhill from there. And I'm like, I I can't help it. Yeah, I would just watch these like horrible things, and I think just the melodrama of the moment. Me and my sister like eating popcorn and just cracking up. And my poor mom, she'll like come in the room, and I don't know what she could have possibly been thinking, but she would regularly think we would have like a lighthearted show or a sitcom on, and it's just like gore on the TV, and me and my youngest sister, and like, did you see that?
It's it's so true, those shows, the way they just the cadence in and of itself, the way that they talk was so ridiculous, and then they totally do, like you said, like, try to attribute, like, nonsensical things, and you're just like, yeah, it's
On
real
their
real
sound design, right? You hear that sound design where just like they're just watching a piece of paper fall because he's shocked that he got divorced or whatever. But the piece of paper falling down in a moment where he was probably just swearing and going, "Ah, this sucks." It's just like, no, like, no, this is not the part.
Yeah.
Mellow out.
I love watching, like, shows where they obviously made all of the sounds separate from the scene, and you can actually almost see what it was they were using, like, you can imagine them using, like, sticks on, like, a little gravel patch to make the walking sounds and stuff, and it's just not done well enough to, like, really sync with it, and I'll watch a show and forget, like, what I'm watching, just listen to the sound engineering the whole time.
Yeah, every once in a while I'll be watching something, right? I mean, just even if it's something like just serious, and you'll hear a heavy-handed director put one of those in there, and they'd be like, "Hey, kid, now's the time where we start worrying." Like, 'cause it's just I didn't think like that's something like an autistic thing too. Is like, don't tell me what to do. And I think like I just get resentful of sound design sometimes. They'll like nothing will have happened yet. You can tell they're about to present something sad. And before saying one word or even showing the actor's face, they're just like, ooh, ooh. And I'm like, don't tell me why. Tell me what's sad. Don't tell me to be sad. Shame on you.
Yeah. I get even with TikTok videos, people will like be sharing a story and they use the music to represent the emotion that they want you to feel. And I can't watch them. I get irritated. I'm like, I'm sorry, but you just told me how I'm supposed to feel, so I can't
Mhm.
watch this.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, I do. I get bristly. I'm like, don't tell me how to feel. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels manipulative, and then I'm like, oh, I don't like that.
Maybe it's funny what happened. You don't know.
Yeah, it's I just had someone I was like talking to them and was expressing the fact that I feel stress about some stuff that's an unknown right now like and they were like, "Well, you can't feel stressed about, something that's an unknown." And I was just like, "Excuse me?" Like, excuse me?" I literally just was like, "I told you how I felt, and then you told me how that I shouldn't feel that way, which is not okay." You
Well,
know?
and for me, like, there's plenty of I'm very this is terrible. I am a creative person with a very vivid imagination, which helps when I'm trying to do something artsy and is very destructive if you have some kind of anxiety issues because that really helps it along. And
Yeah.
if I have just any information about something, I can kind of break that down into 20 different scenarios. And if the
Yep.
majority of them are unpleasant, I'm going to be upset. Like that's
Yep.
just how that works. There are a few times where I'm like, I don't have enough information to get upset, but I have to have virtually no information because that means I can't picture more than a few scenarios. But if I can picture them, there are like 10 reasonable outcomes and I just don't know which one. And again, more than half are bad. I'm gonna be in
Yeah.
a bad mood about the thing. That's just how information works. A little with probably with both of our brains.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people don't have that, where, like, if you give me a certain amount of information, it branches into a bunch of different possibilities, and I don't sit there, like, fixating on one of them. I'm like, "There are all these possibilities, I don't know which one it is." Sometimes I'll have enough information, it could be weighted towards one group of possibilities, but and it's interesting to me because when I say that, a lot of people are like, what? Like their brains don't do the same thing. They have like a single assumption that they get focused on. And, mine, there's many, many, many.
Well, and I don't even know how you have a functional life like that, right? Like you
Right.
sometimes you're setting yourself up for failure if you don't imagine bad stuff happening, in my opinion. Some people base their assumption on what could happen based on what would be best for them. And I feel like that's super dangerous. If you're a person that wigs out when you're disappointed, you're gonna have a terrible life like that.
Right.
People hate to worry, but at the same time, I think if people didn't worry, we wouldn't ever be prepared for an emergency. I think people wouldn't be able to take care of each other if something bad happens. If we never worried about stuff, everything would come at us sideways. That's terrible.
Yeah. That's basically how my sister lives. She doesn't see stuff coming, even when she's made a series of terrible, terrible decisions that the outcome of the decisions were obvious to me before she made them. She's just like, "Why is this happening? I don't understand." But she somehow manages to like instead of drowning in the negativity of it, she just kind of like just moves on to the next bad decision. I don't know. Like I'm like at some point you got to like hit the bottom of the barrel that you've been making for yourself. Um,
Well, the thing
but
is, it scares people psychologically. I think a lot of people like psychologically lazy. like feelings lazy, or just like I'll deal with it as soon as it happens. And like to stay in that mode again is unsafe, especially if you're prone to making impulsive choices.
Mhm.
I know that I am, so I kind of before I even go out into the world, before I start my day, I'm like, I am planning to do such and such. What might happen? And I'm like, that could go very badly. This could go very well. I'm going to focus on doing everything I can for that outcome to be more the one that's more likely, just in case. Then I feel like I'm prepared for things to go badly. And I tell people like I feel like there's such power in negativity, and I like take pride in being a negative person. And people are like you're not mean or sad. You don't like act awful to people. I'm like, you guys are very confused about what being negative is. Like
Right?
I always exclusively start with worst case scenario and work my way upwards from there. And I feel like even though I'm a person prone to panicking and getting hurt, I'm sad easily. My feelings are hurt very easily, or I'm a sensitive creature and all that. And I can navigate that by always going from worst case scenario up. So I'm like, a lot of people are like, but what if good things happen? I'm like, I'm not gonna kick a good day out of bed, you know, like, but
Right?
like, uh, if uh, if a bunch of bad things happen, I'll know what to do.
Yeah. I plan, I research, and then I take that tendency to see. I don't call it being negative, I call it being realistic to anticipate worst case
Mhm.
scenario because literally that's how my life has worked. And so when people are like, "Oh, you're really pessimistic or whatever." I'm like, "Dude, be friends with me for a while and you will see I have different rules in my life than you have in yours." Like if have you had a year where you got 5 different flat tires? No. There you go. So, you know, so I'll like
That's a
do all
lot.
this. Yeah, I'll do all this work to like plan something out and then I go, "Okay, what are the things that I should know so that I can deal with anything that goes wrong?" And then I do that. And usually I'm pretty like prepared, but I've actually the last couple months have been actually surprised by things happening and I've just been like, "Well, I guess in a way it's good to know I can still be surprised." But I wanna be pleasantly surprised. I'm, like, looking forward to that, like
Yeah, no, those are fun. Those don't happen as often, but it is good when something good happens out of left field. Mm.
Yeah, and I'm quick to embrace it. It's not like, like you said, it's not like because I'm focusing on being prepared that I'm not open to the positive. I'm more than like I'm like, "Bring it."
Yeah, but just my whole weird like philosophy on that is like the reason I don't focus on things going well is I feel like good news takes care of itself.
Right, right. That's a great way of putting it. I wouldn't have thought it that way, but that's exactly it. Whenever something goes wrong, there's always stuff you have to do. Good news is you don't usually need to do anything except show up.
Yeah.
Huh.
I've been making those little like resin things. I just got like a set of those little balls and been putting things in there. I've been trying to preserve these roses I got. It's been crazy. I Resin's expensive. I've got like 100 more ideas.
It
Ugh.
is. I know. When I got into resin, I was like, I started with like some cheaper stuff, but I learned that the quality of the resin does make a difference when you're working with it. And I was like, okay, so I need to get the better stuff and it costs money. And, I just need more people to buy stuff. And then I become more resin.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, 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 yeah. Self promotion. Go to the
woohoo.
store now. Hey, you know what? No, no. Anybody watching this hasn't gotten it. Yeah, hey, you got, yeah, yeah. Oh no, it's so cool because there's like, okay, there's all those stickers of all kinds of stuff, and you want to be a sassy jerk, you got stickers of it. And they got the little cannibalism thing on the fridge. They got the clown thing in the window. They got the clown mug. I can't reach it. It's right over there. It is right just out of reach. And I feel like I feel like yeah, with the button clips and the balloon dog stickers, I keep the little balloon dog stickers on me in case anyone's having a bad day, and I'm like, have a dog, you know. And just having whimsical items, I feel like just inherently gives more whimsy to your day, and um, literally everything can go wrong. Everything can, even stuff you've never thought of. And coming home to a few whimsical items can just really, really take the edge off.
Yeah, I agree with that. I miss my all my stuff's in storage and I miss that, like my squishmallows and my color like I have paintings and like my framed pictures of my clown friends and stuff like that. And I look forward to like putting those back up and you know, it'll be nice. Right now just my cat is my
Yeah,
it
oh no,
was
I have fun with their dog, and like dogs are comic relief. I'm just because people are just like, oh, she doesn't do this and that, and she should do whatever as you say. And I'm like, look, I get to point at her and laugh and say terrible things, and she says, "Yay, attention." That is good enough.
Plus she tries to catch flies, which is cute.
The dog catches flies. I'm like so proud of her. I'm like, you did it. It's the best.
You could just sit and watch that, when there's a fly around, they're like
It's also funny when they miss because I'll make fun of the dog. Hey, dog, dog. No, actually, what we say all the time to the dog is nobody loves you, and she's just like, yay.
Yay!
I think if you say stuff in a good tone, they just take it as a good thing and then they feel better. And then if you're all pent up with all this anger, it's hard to safely just get anger on the outside of you. You don't want to keep it in, but you want to take it out on people. And usually I'll just say something passive aggressive to the dog and it really takes the edge off. Nobody loves you.
I used to deal with my dog too, like, because he was so sensitive to intonation and like I couldn't get mad around him, even a small mad because he was so sensitive, even if it wasn't directed at him. So I would do stuff like that, like just be like, I'd be like, You're such a good dog. I'm gonna eat you," you know?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll murder you. Like I'll. You always say a lot because she likes the makeup, and she'll come up and try and eat some of the makeup off of my face,
Oh.
and just be like, "I'll murder you. Yeah, I'll bite you in the eye." I keep saying, "I'll bite you in the eye," and she's just like, "I love you too," says the dog. Oh, and my kid was a baby, and they would just scream. They would just shriek sometimes. And like, I get it. It's like being a baby is like probably the worst feeling there is. Plus, I had like a series of strokes. Did I ever mention that just to you, even in private?
I think
Like,
so.
I got to use like a walker and junk on bad days. I have to use like a wheelchair. It's miserable. I had to learn how to write several times. I had to learn how to speak again several times. I had to teach myself how to walk several times. It's just no intervention and then nothing and everything shut down. My mouth is all full of scars from attempting and failing to eat things. I've got rolled taco scars because they're crispy and so it'll just goad you. But huh. What were we talking?
When your kid was a baby and crying,
Wow, I wonder why I brought that up.
because we were talking about
Oh no,
before
I
that we
mean
were
like the stroke I had. I wonder why I brought
oh.
because that was gonna lead into the baby thing, and I don't remember how. But like yeah, it'll come back to me in a minute. But yeah, like I'm just I'm trying to I'm just trying to do everything I can so that they have a happy and good life. And oh, that's right. No, that's why I brought up the stroke. I, as an adult, a sentient adult, or like I get everything that's happening around me, lost the ability to use most of my muscles. So I have to get help to use the bathroom. I have to get help to sometimes put food into my mouth. And sometimes even putting food into my mouth wasn't good enough, so I had to wait and see if it was better later or keep trying to learn how to use my muscles. I could I found out why babies love cell phones because I'm just trapped in this brain prison where I can't use my muscles, but my brain is still active. But I imagine maybe that's what babies go through is that they have a very sharp mind and it's growing every day. They don't know how to make their muscles do what their brain is wanting it to. But yeah, all these years I'm just like, why do babies love cell phones? As soon as they're invented, it's a baby's favorite thing. Like is there like there couldn't be anything evolutionarily right where they're just like tuned to cell phones? But when I was having a similar issue, learning how to walk, learning how to speak, the only predictable part of my world was my cell phone. If I managed to put my hand right on the spot, the same thing would happen each time. I can make a video play when I'm lonely. I can make a song play when this is too sad. And on a rare occasion when I was able to communicate, I could type a couple of letters and the autofill kind of suggestion things were so accurate. I could express my thoughts relatively accurately, even under those circumstances. But then I just realized, okay, yeah, this is the only predictive with limited muscle movements. It was the only predictable part of life. And that was cool to learn that. That was cool. Yeah, but yeah, and not being able to control all of that or tell people why it's happening or how bad it feels. That's got to be the worst feeling there is. That was all a
Right.
side tangent. That's why I didn't connect directly. But my baby would just cry, would just scream sometimes. And I know that I've done everything I can, and just being a baby's the worst. So just to mellow out my baby, I would either sing a song very passive aggressively and be like, there's this like Beatles song Honey Pie, and I just love part of it because I would just be like, let's see, honey pie, you are making me crazy. And I was just like rocking the baby. And when that didn't work, I'd get like an eyeliner out and I would draw like a little devil mustache and beard and just laugh at my baby. And they would see me just pointing and laughing and go, oh, we're having fun. This is fun time. And just stop crying. It was the best. You have to stop before they start forming memories. That's like really important. But once we got the dog fully took over as comic relief.
Yeah. I used to when my son didn't cry very much, but every now and again, and like the teething phase was hard, and I would eat his toes, like, and that was like a, every time was a guaranteed distraction from whatever like horror he was experiencing to make him cry. That and like if we acted like we were hurting ourselves, like we act like we tripped or walked into something. Oh, that
I love
was
that.
yeah, like, the first time, like, he ever, like, did the full belly laugh, like, where he's, like, can't breathe and stuff was, like, his dad, like, tripped, and then, like, we realized that's what he was laughing at, so then he started doing it over and over again, and my son was just literally couldn't breathe, he was laughing so hard, it's so funny.
Yeah, why is that fun? Why would you know what? I constantly threaten to eat the baby too. Yeah. Just like, I'm gonna bite your arm off. And just like, I love you, mommy.
Yeah, that's when, like, Fat Bastard in was, like, popular, so I'd be like, "Get in my belly, I'm gonna
Yeah,
eat ya."
that was terrible. That was terrible. I'm fat, and I like could not stop doing it anyway because it's too good. There's like that Weird Al song with all the fat jokes in it. Oh, he did a few, and I can't be mad. It just like because it tickles me. I'm like,
They came from, like, a fun place instead of a rude place.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember, like, I didn't really like the Austin Powers movies, but, like,
Mm.
the second one had Fat Bastard, and I love the Fat Bastard character so much, I would, like I actually I had the digital version on my hard drive and I cut it up so I could just watch it for the Fat Bastard stuff. I don't it's just like one of those weird things I did. I was like, I only want to see this part of the movie. So
I used to record stuff on the radio. Actually, a few times me and my cousin would just repeat a phrase for about an hour till the tape ran out, then play the tape and record that tape with us. So there'd just be 4 layers of just absolute nonsense. I think at one point he's just shouting, "Did anybody ever tell you that I have beautiful eyes?" For an hour, just on a loop. And in the background, I'm saying like, "Birds," and like just yeah, just back and forth. Hour of that. Rewind it, start over, and play that loudly in the background while both of us yell, "Justin, where did you go?" Nobody. And we just have these like odd tapes. I can't find any of them right now, but yeah, recording the weird stuff. But that song "Du hast" was like big deal in like the '90s, and I'm very immature. I'm very immature. It's terrible. Like I would record that off of the radio, but I would just have him go do 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 do, and I just like I can't help myself. It was just out of place.
I think we would have had fun hanging out like when we were younger. We like my friend had this Casio keyboard and we would record random sounds into it and then it changes so that you can play music with the sound you recorded. We recorded all kinds of crazy like fart sounds and like weird like statements. Like there was one time we recorded like where we just said "I am Satan" and then played it. And but we are playing like a really jolly song, and so it's like do 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 do, and you would just hear the word Satan like sort of floating in there at different like tones and stuff. We just did it because it was like funny. And somewhere there are like video recordings of some of that somewhere. I don't know if I have them in storage or if he does, but it would be funny to watch them.
Yeah, I know it was of this like full size video camera because it had entire VHS tapes in it, and
Oh.
we just kind of like go around town with those. Yeah, you know what's awful is if I beat this cancer and am able to do more and more and more someday. If that ever does happen, I just know that I'm gonna be taken out by somebody finding those tapes and then being like so embarrassing that I hide forever.
I don't know. I think you should like should just own it and be like, "Yep, I was a kid once." Meh. Easier
Or I
said
was
than
a
done, but
belligerent teenager once.
yeah.
Ah!
I was gonna say something, I can't remember what now. It'll either come to me or it won't.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, maybe it won't. I love those little 50-50 things. I think there's this episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force where like he was like writing on the guy's house and then was playing with gasoline, and then the whole house caught fire. It's like, oh, and he's like, you definitely shouldn't play with matches, or you should. And he's just standing in front of his burning house like, yeah, definitely one or the other. And I'm just like, I don't know why. Like saying that to my kid. You gotta stop doing the things. You get hurt. I'm like, yeah, it's definitely one or the other. There's something. I get hurt all the time for stupid reasons.
I
Oh,
like
I'm
that you're
exhausted. I'm extremely fatigued and in a lot of pain. And then I still get bored. Yeah, I'm gonna be hurt sometimes.
I like that you remember like random media stuff and it's not the stuff that because there's certain things that everybody seems to reference, but like you don't reference that stuff. I have no like memory for media, so I like I I have a very hard time being like, well, this thing reminds me of that. But if you say it, I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that after you say it.
I kept telling people, I'll take your eyeball and make soup out of it. And that is from The Simpsons, but it's like The Simpsons, but it was like one of their worst episodes ever. And the episode wasn't funny, but the line was. So when I start saying it, people just take me at face value that I'm not quoting that I'm actually threatening people with like a big smile, and I was like, okay, well, I gotta quit doing that or do it all the time. It's definitely one or the other. But yeah, I just leaned all the way in, and now sometimes when people are just sad, I'll text them. I'm like, hey, man, don't worry, because you know what? I'm gonna take your eyeball and I'll make soup out of it. And then,
I'll
yeah, I
keep
think I
that in
was telling
mind
you
if
the
you
other
say
day.
that.
Yeah, no, please do. Oh my goodness, internet people that I don't talk to as much, that I just don't have like years of history with. I will just say that. A buddy of mine was doing a Twitch stream one time, and he messed up his game, and he was like super embarrassed because everyone saw. He's like, everyone saw me crash and burn at this easy spot, and I'm just like, hey man, don't worry, I'll take your eyeball and I'll make soup out of it. And he was like, why? And I was like, oh, that's right. Oh, that
I would
wasn't
just
helpful at
laugh.
all.
I wouldn't know what it was from. I would just laugh because it was so random. I'd just be like, "Okay."
Once he got that, that's why I do that as a form of encouragement for some reason, which was not the context it was said in the show. It's another weirder part. But I don't know. Once he got used to it, I just started like send like emoji messages where it's just like an eyeball in a pot of soup. Whenever he put like something depressing online, and also I started
Wait.
like trying to learn Dutch, and the word for sandwich boterham, and I've been saying that constantly.
Boat say it again.
Boterham.
Boterham.
It's just sandwich, but the word makes my brain so happy that I've been yelling that. I just been yelling that just at random intervals. My kid's just like, at least it's not Arsenal. They're like, at least it's not Arsenal. And I'm like, well, okay. I watch like a lot of British people on YouTube, and sometimes when they'll be like, oh, you're a horse's arse, and they'll spell it ARSE. And after watching some guys talking like that, I was looking at different movies, and one of the movies just called Arsenal, and I realized it starts exactly the same as arse. And I'm like, how does any British person deal with US diplomats showing up and be like, the American arsenal is bigger than it's ever been? So I just started yelling arsenal for no reason. So now my kid lives in a world where, as a verbal tick, I just kind of, when I'm anxious, I go, I know your dog. If in one of these, I just start yelling, I know your dog. That means I'm getting nervous. It's not a big deal, but I'll just do that. Or I'll go, hey, I know you. I remember you. Those are all verbal ticks. I lean in because it makes people uncomfortable. But sometimes I'm just filled with joy. I'd be like, Arsenal!
One of my favorite words that I used to say a lot more when I was younger is jopa, which is
Yeah.
the word for butt.
I love that in Bob's Burgers. What's Tina just be like, butts. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I
Really
love it.
related with her, like, in the earlier episodes.
I got my kid a T-shirt for Christmas, Bob, and it just says like, "I love you, but you're all terrible." And I'm like, where did all the family things get? We have it coming.
That is the perfect, like, family event shirt.
Mhm. Although I saw one online and it said like, came in like a million sizes, and it said, "Madness doesn't run in the family. It moves slowly and gets to know all of us very well." And I was like, "Oh, family reunion." I immediately was like, "We gotta have a family reunion." It's like I gotta. That came in like toddler sizes. I'm like, mm. It was all red letters. I'm like, if we get some green hats, boom, Christmas card.
That would I could totally see that. That would be fun. I guess if I assuming your family's like they would be willing to wear them.
Yeah, a lot of them would be assuming they're wearing it ironically, but yeah, they would. It's funny because we're not crazy. I'm like, yeah, just shut up and do it.
Shut up and do it.
Also, there's that pity factor because I'm very sick.
Use that. Yes, use that to create more fun.
Yeah, get shenanigans accomplices off of that like regularly.
I saw this picture of my son when he was like I sent it to you, the dinosaur one where he's sleeping with this dinosaur, and I told him, I was like, "We need to, like, retake that photo with you as an adult, right? So that
Yeah,
we could put them side by side." Like, I think that would be, like, awesome.
when I was a teenager, I slept with that. The Mars Attacks had these really big figures. They had like the big like I can't remember the general guy with the big cape and the stuff. They made one of him like about that big, the big dome, and he actually pushed the button, and the brain would move and light up. Actually, and I put it to bed with me and just cuddle it like this, and people were like, "That's hard plastic. You can't do that." I'm like, "Stop and mind your business."
Yeah. There are no rules for what is comforting. That
No,
movie, like, my favorite part of that movie was the way the alien language sounded before it was translated, where they were like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," like
yeah, no, I even make that sound all the time. I can't do it now, but like, oh, this is a blast.
Now I wanna rewatch that.
I love the grandma. The grandma's the best. I think she was in Beetlejuice too. She was Juno. Think Juno. I'm Juno. You're a caseworker.
Yeah. I don't remember the actors in it, it's been so long since I've seen it, but I do vaguely remember the Beetlejuice, the caseworker actress.
Yeah, she's like just grandma. Grandma has a touch of dementia, so the alien invasion isn't really bugging her too much. I love it.
Now I have to definitely have to rewatch it just for that because I don't remember that. Like once I watch it, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." But I literally haven't seen that movie since like the year it came out.
I hadn't either, but like, I gotta like go through a rundown of stuff for my kid. Watch this. Sometimes they're just like, "That was terrible. Why did you show me that?" And I'm just like, I don't want to be the only one in this house that remembers that that happened. Next. Oh. I'm I've gotten several messages. I feel bad. Um um I'm worried with the just a second, just a second.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Uh um I know, right? Oh, that wasn't even the one. Uh, Hi, how's it going? I really um yeah. That just threw me all the way off. I like got out of storytelling mode for a second. What? How? I should probably try to get going actually. I just running out of gas.
Are you gonna make more content?
I should, huh? Like I should do stuff with this face.
Yeah. Put it to work before you totally poop out.
Yeah, but thank you so much for having me on again. I really appreciate it so much. I think my plan was to keep talking until like the exhaustion had me tilting over, but stopping for a second, I'm like, I could not tip over.
Yeah,
What do you think about that?
I vote for that. It's not my strong suit to do that, but, like, I do vote for it when there's the opportunity, so, I'm really glad, that we got to talk again, and that I get to keep up with you in text, and I look forward to seeing your content, whatever it is that you make today.
I was I'm hoping I do something like this someday that you're doing, and then I can have you come on, and I gotta get used to how bad this thing is knocking me out. It's not going anywhere. Again, like the ideal situation is that I feel this bad for the rest of my life, because if they stop the treatment for any reason, it won't be for a good reason.
Yeah.
So hopefully I get fully accustomed to being this tired, and I'm so glad to not just to be here and be able to talk to you and do stuff that people get to see it. You'll be seen with me in public, because this is that.
Yeah.
Feels pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah. One of these days I once I moved, I will hopefully be able to do like my own face and then we can have our faces done together.
Yeah,
So
be
that
fun.
would be
And
awesome.
I'll specifically be a clown.
Okay. Cool.
It's
All
good to
right.
see
Well,
you.
I
Oh,
gotta
dude,
pause.
you have a sign off thing? Because I thought you have like a sign off
Oh
thing.
yeah, I forgot. Oh yeah. I get okay, thank you everybody for listening and thank you
Yeah,
again Attempted Clown for joining and
woo!
I'm glad I made the sign out awkward again cuz I'm getting good at
Yeah.
that.